Right, so what's the news today, I wonder? Britain's wealthy are leaving the UK in record numbers. Britain's wealthy? Let's look into that a little bit deeper. The Henley Private Wealth Migration Report predicts that the UK will lose the most affluent individuals of any country in 2025. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, 16,500 extremely rich people are predicted to leave the UK this year, which is quite a lot, I suppose. According to Henley Private Wealth Migration Report. And there we go, even more than leaving China. And CEO of Henley and Partners, Dr. Jörg Stefan, very English sounding name there, very United Kingdom sounding name, said that this trend transcended just tax implications. Oh, really? And suggested a broader perception among wealthy individuals that opportunities, stability and freedom may be more accessible in other regions. Here we go, that's all leaving us and they're going to, the United Arab Emirates. There we go. Apparently the world, you get a freer society, more stability and more opportunities in the United Arab Emirates. And the United States, of course. It's proving itself to be a wonderfully free country at the moment. They love foreigners there. Yeah, you'll go off over there. And then you've got Italy. Switzerland. What a surprise. Saudi Arabia. Singapore. I'm not being surprised by any of this anyway. So, several major EU nations are projected to experience similar wealth losses for the first time. Blah, 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 blah. The outflow of rich is part of a wider migration trend, with a report predicting that a record 142,000 millionaires globally are expected to relocate internationally in 2025. Good heavens, what could possibly be the reason if it's not just for tax reasons? 2025 marks a pivotal moment. For the first time in a decade of tracking, a European country leads the world in millionaire outflows, Stefan said. He added the long-term implications for Europe and the UK's economic competitiveness and investment appeal are significant. Interesting, the long-term implications for our economic competitiveness and investment could be severe. Competitiveness in what? Investment in what? We'll get to that later. Global wealth migration on the increase there. And commenting on the findings, Spears' top-flight tax lawyer, Robert Broderick, private client partner at Payne Hickson Beach, said, Italy now charges €200,000 for non-DOMs. The US is about to launch their own non-DOM initiative. And the problem is that in the UK, they want to close the non-DOM loophole. And here we go. If Rachel Reeves genuinely wants to boost growth and attract investment to the UK, she can avoid an embarrassing U-turn and introduce a new inward investment visa with a properly costed upfront investment and annual lump sum payment to satisfy worldwide tax liabilities. The UAE, the United Arab Emirates, that global bastion of freedom and liberty, continued to solidify its status as the world's prominent wealth magnet. A net inflow of nearly 10,000 millionaires is expected. Well, I'm sure it's going to be very nice there where there's nobody that lives there apart from millionaires and toilet cleaners. They have a golden visa thing going on. The United States doing the same as Switzerland and Argentina. And yeah, so it's basically just lower taxes. The government want to bring in more taxes for non-doms, and so they're all leaving. And when it says up here Britain's wealthy are leaving, if they're leaving because they're going to close the non-dom loophole, it means they're not really British, are they? They're leaving because they're not British. They're just wealthy people who live here and live here because they don't have to pay tax. So what great loss is there going to be? It's, the long-term implications of economic competitiveness and investment appeal. Investment in what? It's like HS2? Right, let's get rid of that. John Fredrickson leaves London for the United Arab Emirates. What to know about the billionaire shipping tycoon? So what's this? He's leaving. The billionaire revealed his decision in an interview with E24, a Norwegian online business publication. Who is he? He's a Norwegian who's here because it is cheap for his tax. And he's currently the 9th richest person in the UK. Born in Oslo, Norway, he's the son of a welder, blah, blah, blah. Humble origins, got rich, and now he's an international citizen. You know, we make our citizens rich because they're talented and they thank us by fucking off. That's the usual routine, isn't it? And, of course, we don't make them rich. They make themselves rich. That's the big thing, isn't it? We don't give them our money. Oh no, they've magicked their money out of their own genius. You know, their own print. They print their money in the back room, and it's all their own work. You know, nobody has given them this money. And you know, it's oil, of course it is. According to the Standard, Fredrickson, often referred to as JF in the shipping world, has an estimated net worth of about 13.7 billion. He owns a number of companies, including Sea Tankers, never heard of it, Frontline, never heard of it, Golden Ocean Group, never heard of it. His empire also includes Avance Gas and Flex LNG, never heard of it, never heard of it. He holds investments in Misha and Herman Holdings, never heard of them. Fredrickson's property portfolio is equally impressive. I'm sure it is. He owns one of the most valuable private residences in London. Well, what a surprise. And property in loads of other places. Why is he leaving? He's leaving because of Labour's pledge to abolish the UK non-dom tax regime. That's it, just the taxes. There you go. I've got loads of money and you can't have any of it. Or you can have some, but only how much I say, you know. It's like we exist at his privilege. He doesn't exist at our privilege. This status allows individuals who live in the UK but have their permanent home in another country to limit their UK tax liability. The Labour Party has vowed to end the scheme and make Conservative plans to reform it even stricter. In 2024, Jeremy Hunt, the Conservative, desperate not to lose the election, announced, because he realised they're running out of money, he announced the non-dom regime would be phased out. And of course the Tories got booted out from pretty much every department in the country, every category in the country now. They've even lost the rich people. A smart move there. Anyway, so with new arrivals allowed to avoid tax and everything for the first 4 years. Anyway, so Hunt claimed that it would generate $2 billion annually. However, many billionaires, including Fredrickson, have criticised the decision. Well, no shit, of course they have. Oh, apparently because of this one decision, Britain has gone to hell. You know, because the British people have decided to tax a billionaire, Britain has gone to hell. There we go. In his interview, Fredrickson compared the UK's current direction to that of Norway. He doesn't even like his own home country. He's such a he's such a person of the people that, you know, he's already abandoned his own people, come to live here. Now he's abandoning us and he's going off to live with the Arabs. You know, I'm getting very strong. What's his name? That alpha male influencer bloke who's gone to be a Muslim in Romania, and, you know, just moaning about all the other countries that he's running away from and saying, you know, anyway. Britain has gone to hell like Norway, said, adding, the entire Western world is on its way down. Yeah, because people aren't paying their taxes. Citing the tax changes and political climate, Fredrickson confirmed he would spend most of his time in the UAE, where he plans to continue running his global business operations. His departure comes amid a wider billionaire exodus. In March, the UK recorded its largest ever loss of billionaire residents. And I don't. If they're not paying taxes or not paying much taxes, I'm struggling to understand why it is we're trying to keep them anyway. What it is that they're providing. I mean, when you're a billionaire, I mean, you're still eating the same amount of food. You're still contributing the same amount to, I don't know, where would he shop? Harrods, to Harrods' food hall. As any other person who shops there. I mean, maybe Harrods will go bankrupt, but, you know, I should think, you know, Waitrose will probably still, you know, hang on in there without him. I don't know. He's not buying. He's not going to the bicycle repair shop to, you know, produce trickle-down trade to the bicycle repairman. Where's his trickle-down money going? You know, his cleaner that cleans his toilet on minimum wage, maybe. What is this one person's contribution? And in the previous thing, it said investments and competitiveness. I don't know. I mean, presumably if he himself just moves his bum from one chair in London to a chair in the UAE, the businesses that already exist are going to continue existing in the way that they are currently existing. It's just he personally won't be paying any tax. But I don't know. Will he take his companies with him? Will he put his toys in the pram with him as he marches off? And all this oil that he's trading in or whatever will suddenly just circumvent the UK, and I don't know, it makes no sense. And so yeah, we come to the article said the current political climate. I mean, are they talking about the riots, the growing social unrest? Here we go, the Southport riots, the race riots. So as a foreigner, is it that he's worried about the rising anti-foreigner sentiment? Is that what it is? Let's have a look at these riots. And so the blue markers here indicate where there was violent protest. And after the Southport murders. Green indicates peaceful protest, proper protesting, peaceful protesting. So there's lots of that going on as well, but we're just going to concentrate on the violent protest here, because that's the, I suppose, what worries people, particularly foreigners, I suppose. There we go, there they all are. So it's here, and then coming down the middle here, across the bottom, and a bit in there, Bristol, Cardiff, and a bit in London and Belfast. There's not a lot really going on in this bit, and this one here in Hull, that's sort of like an outlier there. But Hull's always been a bit of a strange place. Nothing going on really in Wales in this middle bit here. Not too much going on down in the southeast. A little bit in Plymouth there. Not much in the rest of Northern Ireland, it's just pretty much in Belfast. So it's up here and then down the middle there, the big cities across here, and then on the south coast. So what's going on here? How can one murder trigger all this? Let's have a look at what's going on. And what have we got here? Council bankruptcy tracker. Authorities under increasing financial strain. So since Brexit, these are the councils. Brexit was 2020. Since 2020, these are the councils in financial distress in England. These are the councils are what provide the services to the public. And oh look, it's up here, down here, down through the middle, on the south coast, and the big cities there. Nothing much going on over here. Doesn't mention Wales, because that's not the remit of the England councils, I suppose. And then not much going on down here in the southwest. A little bit there in Somerset. And it's amazing, isn't it? It's the same chart. The people who are violently rioting are the people who are coming predominantly from councils that have run out of money. And those ones across the south of England, this is now district councils. Oh, sorry, the county councils, as opposed to the which different versions of councils. They're just councils. These are district councils. Slightly different things, but yeah, here we go. Money worries, Dover, Hampshire, across the south of England there. So, if these million and billionaires, you know, over the past 10 years, have led to our country not even being able to run councils because they are so utterly bankrupt, literally issuing Section 114 notices of bankruptcy, how is it going to get worse when they leave, when they're not contributing anything in the first place? You know, they're going to get even more bankrupt. How do you get even more zero than zero? And what's the investment they're investing in? They're investing in making sure everything's going bankrupt so that they can buy up cheap stuff. Is that what they mean? The opportunities? I don't know. I don't understand it. They're investing in investment companies to invest in money to make investment money out of investment money. That means nothing to that means nothing to these people. Anyway. So, but what are these people rioting about? They've gone bankrupt. They're all miserable, and the council can't, you know, be nice to them. They're rioting because the asylum seekers have a better life than them now. The asylum seekers are getting more money and a better lifestyle than the residents. And how bad is the asylum seeker situation? And this is a small boat arrivals. This is from the government's own website. You can look this up. They're not hiding this information. It's not a conspiracy. It's there for all to see. Detections at the UK border by method of entry. And we have the usual, and they class this as irregular migration. So this is unexpected migration. Inadequately documented air arrivals. That's people just flying in and then hiding, I suppose. They're in there somewhere. That's one of the, probably that one. Recorded detections in the UK. So that's just people that I suppose they found at some later point. Recorded detections at UK ports. That's down there as well. Oh, that bloke was in shipping, wasn't he? Interesting. Anyway, small boats. As you can see, it's gone mental. Started going mental just about at the beginning of 2020. It was all sort of like normal. Look, I think this country can take a couple of thousand asylum seekers, you know, every few months maybe. I mean, that's not really breaking the system. It's still a bit of a lot. That number could be reduced. But yeah, look at this. I mean, really, that is a political situation. And we're talking what? So there's like 5,000 in that quarter, over 10,000 in that quarter, another 10,000, 5,000, 5,000, 20,000, 15,000, 10,000. We're talking about 75,000 people, you know, in the space of about 4 years, who are just walking into the country. And why is their lifestyle better than what the council can provide for their own citizens? Where's that tax? What's going on with that taxation? Well, this is the European thing, isn't it? Fundamental rights of refugees, asylum applicants and migrants at the European borders. When the geniuses who voted for Brexit got their, you know, their genius leaders to agree Brexit negotiations with Europe, they negotiated a deal which included we'd have to maintain these fundamental rights of refugees, asylum applicants and migrants at the European borders. So yeah, you know, well done for voting Brexit. That really stuffed Johnny Foreigner in the bum, didn't it? But, well, not really, because in order to negotiate a deal that didn't involve bankrupting Britain even further, they had to agree to keep this thing going. So, and here we can look at all the reasons why the government we currently have is a bit handicapped as to why it can't do anything about asylum seekers. And here are all the rules you can read up on. Here we go, asylum. Return to a country where asylum seeker would be safe. Access to asylum procedures. Suspended asylum cases. Here we go. Access to asylum procedures. The European Convention of Human Rights does not provide for the right to asylum as such. However, turning away an individual and thereby putting them at risk of torture or other forms of inhuman or degrading treatment or punishment is prohibited by the principle of this policy. And then we have persons in a vulnerable situation. Article 3 of the European Convention of Human Rights states are required to take adequate measures to provide care and protection to the most vulnerable, such as children, victims of torture, victims of violence or human trafficking, persons with health issues and others in a vulnerable situation. This includes an obligation to take active steps to detect vulnerabilities at the earliest stage possible, do effective vulnerability assessments, and make sure that all individuals are informed about such procedures. So, you know, you've got to take them in, you've got to look after them nicely until the asylum package is dealt with, and then you can decide whether they have to be sent back or stay or whatever. And yeah, I mean, I don't know why you're rioting when it was the people you voted for probably that left us in this situation. And why do I say that? If we look at Brexit, when did Brexit happen? We notice on that previous bit of information that I just showed you that it was exactly in the first quarter of 2020 that the small boat asylum issue started. Right. 31st of January 2020, the UK officially withdraws from the EU. Thousands of Brexit supporters gather in Parliament Square to celebrate the moment, a transition period where most EU laws will continue to be enforced until the 31st of December. So there we go. 2nd of March, trade talks on the UK and the EU's future relationship led by Barnier and Frost begin. So there it is. We officially withdraw on the 31st of January 2020. And as if by magic, the very next day, the boat people start coming in. Now, you could make a conspiracy theory here that that's the Europeans' way of pissing us off for leaving Brexit. There you go, you're no longer part of us, but you've still got to abide by our human rights. We're going to stuff you full of foreigners now, asylum seekers, that you all have to deal with. Because presumably, while we were within the European Union, our negotiations had evolved a system whereby we were part of the Union, but we didn't take asylum seekers. That was probably part of the negotiation, that's my guessing. And all these boat people would have been filtered out before they got to the French coast. And now we've come out, we've probably lost that, whatever negotiation that was, and now the boat people can be stuffed across, and there's nothing we can do about it. Possibly apart from get violent, I suppose. I don't know, but I don't think violence is the best way to solve this. It's going to be solved by negotiation, isn't it? If you prefer violence, I mean, what's the point in anything? You might as well be like that billionaire Fredrickson, you know, whatever the situation, put your toys in the pram, get angry, and, you know, his case, fuck off. In your case, beat somebody up. I mean, it's not that much of a sort of like mental leap in cognitive brainlessness, is it? I mean, it's got to be sorted, but I mean, is violence the answer? And as you can see, the BBC, it's not a conspiracy. It's not it's not a psyop, you know. We're not being forced asylum seekers on us because of it's the loony lefties or the BBC a part of some conspiracy. Here we are, the BBC reporting on it on the 10th of April 2024. UK foreign aid spending on asylum seekers rises again, and they tell us all about it. Look. The Foreign Office statistics reveal that 4.3 billion of its foreign aid budget went on supporting refugees and asylum seekers in the UK. 4.3 billion pounds. And that's in 2020, just in 2023. It's probably going up as we speak. But the issue here is that it comes out of the 15 billion of the humanitarian aid. It's not coming out of regular. It's not coming out of your council's budget. This is national budget here. It's the international humanitarian aid. It's like international development budget. And what they're complaining about here, what the BBC is saying here, is that it's taking a larger chunk of the aid budget. So the UK's overall aid budget in 2023 had risen by 2.6 billion since the previous year, taking the total to 15.4 billion. However, less money was spent on the FCDO's overseas bilateral aid commitments because of spending more money on the asylum seekers in the UK. So instead of helping poor people around the world, which is, I don't know, I suppose the United Kingdom's budget for, you know, good guy budget for making it's like a marketing budget overseas, I see, and, you know, just, you know, international goodness. People are starving somewhere. Let's do something. We're supposed to be a rich nation. Let's contribute to that. And that's our budget for that. But because of all these asylum seekers flooding into UK in the boats, they're spending more of that budget on the asylum seekers coming into the UK. And here we go, Labour. A Labour government would create a new cross-border police unit in partnership with Europol to smash the criminal smuggler gangs and introduce a new returns unit that would remove people with no right to be here. And so this is before Labour came into power. Okay, so this problem is not a Labour problem. It is a it is a problem created by the Conservative era government, who were the people who were leading the Conservative Party because they were the Brexit people in the Conservative Party. Okay, and nobody rioted while the Conservatives were in power. 10th of April. Okay. 10th of April 2024, this was an issue raised and Labour were complaining about it. Labour weren't happy with this, they wanted to do something about this. Tremendous waste of money, they can see what's going on. And, you know, it's not a loony lefty thing. What's occurring is occurring because of Conservatives and the specifically Brexit-led Conservatives, who all got voted out unanimously. And when did Labour come to power? 4th of July. They get handed this messy situation of bankrupt councils and rising asylum immigration, fueling the fires of social discontent created by the bankrupt councils, and they come into power on 4th of July. And when were the Southport riots? 29th of July. You know, less than 1 month of Labour being in power. Oh, and it's surely it's not just a political thing. Surely not. Surely it's, you know, it's because it's a big issue. And, you know, it was a tinderbox waiting to happen. You know, the first thing a foreigner does something, we're going to riot, you know. It's like, you know, they've had 4 years to do that. And as soon as Labour get into power, I see, as soon as Labour get into power, now we're going to start rioting. And now all the rich foreigners are going to suddenly piss off. I see. Interesting. Yeah. And so, yeah. At Southport, there was that heckler heckling Keir Starmer. Now, I'm not. Before before you get too excited, I'm not a big fan of Labour. I mean, it's a bit of a flip side, really, aren't they? They can go a bit too far to the left, where others go a bit far to the right. Not that left and right means anything nowadays, but I mean, Keir Starmer went to lay a wreath at the funeral, at the wreath display of the dead girls in Southport. And there was that heckler shouting at Keir Starmer, do something. Shouting at him, go away. And, you know, just being an absolute cunt to Keir Starmer. He's been in office like 1 month. And it hasn't been his problem up to this point. It was the Brexiteers' problem. And, you know, now he's got in. He said he's going to try and do something about it. And before he can even get a chance to do something about it, they're taking the opportunity to politicise it. And oh, it's just disgraceful, isn't it? It's disgusting. Anyway, we've had him for a year now. I don't know if he's done anything, probably not. But anyway, and in Belfast now, this other thing, they're having another riot this year, and you know, the issue is, you know, bankrupt councils and people not paying their tax. You know, to make sure that the locals can have a better life than the refugees. We've got national taxation paying the refugees to have a better life than the councils can afford to give the locals because they're going bankrupt. So how are we going to protest in a way that helps the situation? Let's have a look here. There's a fire there. What's going on? Rioters attacked police and set fires in the streets during a third night of clashes in Ballymena, while the violence spread to other towns in Northern Ireland. Okay, they attacked the police, did they? Well, I think that's going to end up in taxpayer money helping out any police that have been injured, isn't it? I feel that that's the taxpayer that's going to have to foot that bill, isn't it? Set fires in the streets. Who's responsible for mending the roads? Oh, that's right. It's the councils. It's the taxpayers, isn't it? Oh, that's really helpful. Oh, what's going on here? Oh, they've burnt the houses that these alleged foreigners lived in. I've got to say alleged because I don't know the specifics of this. I mean, it's, a foreigner's done something and now they've got the excuse to go nuts and do whatever they like, apparently. So they've burnt down, obviously, the council property that these particular foreigners lived in, that they have a grievance with. They've just burnt it down. I mean, it's not the foreigners' property. Whose property is it? Who's going to have to deal with this damage? Oh, it's the taxpayer, isn't it? It's the councils. Oh, it's the councils that are running out of money. That's the people who are going to have to deal with this. Let's have a look here. What's going on here? Lots and lots of police vans here. Lots and lots. Who's paying for those police vans to be there? Who's paying for all this police overtime to manage a bunch of just a bunch of nutters who just enjoy being violent? Who's paying for it? Let me think. I think that's the councils. I think that's the taxpayer and the councils, isn't it? Yes, that's right. Yes, I think I'm getting a theme going here. Ballymena riots. Moment vandals set fire to a leisure centre used as an emergency centre. Oh, so they've taken these people out of their houses that are being set fire to and stuffed them in a leisure centre. So these geniuses have come over to this leisure centre to smash up the leisure centre. Oh, now they've set fire to the leisure centre. Oh, wow. How exciting. How joyful. That's really sticking it to the foreigners, that is. It's like the foreigner's going to give a shit about any of this. Just like that foreigner is fucking off to the UAE, like he's actually giving a shit about any of this. And, who's going to be giving a shit about this? The leisure centre. Who funds the leisure centre? Oh, it's the taxpayer, isn't it? Yeah, it's the taxpayer. And the council are going to have to fork out to mend all of this. They're chucking wheelie bins at it, of course. Who funds the wheelie bins? Who's going to replace all the knackered and burnt out and broken wheelie bins? Who pays for the wheelie bins in our society? Oh, it's the council. It's the taxpayer and the council. Oh, more streets on fire. There we go. More roads being burnt up and melted, and oh, you get the idea. Oh, look at all these policemen. More overtime, more injuries. And then having time off for injuries, and oh God, who's paying for the health services that they're getting while they're injured? Oh, it's the council. More taxpayer money. Oh, we've got cars on fire now. Oh, they're setting fire to cars as well. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's, Johnny foreigners, really going to suffer now, Oh, dear. And Northern Ireland protests, 6 arrested 6 arrested after disorder broke out. This is just the second night, 6 arrested. So who's going to pay for them to go through the court system, possibly prison system? All the lawyers, the prosecution, the defence, who's going to be paying for all of that? I think it's probably going to be the taxpayer and the council, isn't it? So much for, it's just too much, isn't it? We've got all the rich foreigners fucking off because they don't want to fund the councils, and we're left with all the poor foreigners. And how are these geniuses who voted for Brexit reacting to the poor foreigner situation that the Brexit negotiation landed us in? How are they going to improve the situation of the bankrupt councils? They're going to make the councils even more bankrupt. It's